In this video, we're going to be going over the ultimate Costco shopping guide for preppers. Let's get started. If you're new to this channel, I'd like to welcome you. My name is Cliff, also known as the Urban Prepper, and on this channel we feature the topic of urban emergency preparedness. In a previous Costco video, I covered the top 10 preps that you should buy at Costco upon every visit. On this video, we're going to do an expanded look on not only those top 10 items, but also additional items that you can pick up as preppers for your various emergency preparedness kits and for long-term storage. Preppers walk through life looking at things through a different lens than most people. While the average Costco shopper is thinking about their dinner plans or getting school lunch supplies, preppers are also thinking about long-term food storage, emergency kits, or what might be useful in a bug-out bag. So whenever you're at Costco, look at things with that prepper lens. With regard to food that you purchase at Costco, store what you eat and eat what you store. No need to buy a bunch of stuff that you don't actually like to eat. Also, in the topic of food, before we get started, don't confuse best by dates for expiration dates. Most canned items will last many, many years after the best by date, but the flavor may just be slightly below best. Check out some of the other videos on this subject for more details. Let's start off first by going through the top 10 Costco preps. We've already covered this in another video, so this is just more of a refresher. These are items that I previously recommended that you pick up every time that you go to Costco to help build up your emergency preparedness supplies. Number 1, a 25-pound bag of rice. This is probably the ultimate prepper staple food. Next, pick up batteries. You can get AA, AAA, C, D, and rechargeables. Number 3, we have canned meat. So tuna, chicken, corned beef, Spam, anything that you actually like. I think Spam tastes much better if you slice it thin and fry it, but not everyone likes it. Number 4 is cooking oil. We prefer going with non-seed oils such as olive oil or coconut oil. These oils don't last as long as we would probably all like. You could actually freeze olive oil for years at a time to extend the shelf life. So refined coconut oil could last up to 5 years, while olive oil typically lasts 18 months to 2 years when stored properly. At number 5, we have peanut butter and jam. I was finally able to get my kids to switch over from Adams peanut butter to Jif peanut butter, which is good because Jif has a longer shelf life than Adams. And we typically like raspberry or strawberry jam. At number 6, we have soup and chili. You could get a bunch of cans in boxes and put them in your pantry for quick meals. At number 7, we had canned fruit. Previously, I recommended large glass jars like for peaches, but since posting the video, I've switched over to the individual cups. Sometimes I don't feel like eating an entire jar of peaches, but the individual cups are better for school lunches, and you can eat them in smaller portions without refrigeration. At number 8, we had canned vegetables. Green beans is pretty popular over at Costco, but they contain few calories. I wouldn't expect to survive off of a stash of it. If you're doing a comparison, corn has a lot more calories. So with all these canned items, I would go for calorie count for emergency purposes. At number 9, we had toilet paper. I recommend having at least 100 rolls of toilet paper in your household for emergency purposes. And then at number 10, we have medications. So over-the-counter medications and supplements. Whether you want vitamin C or CoQ10 or a multivitamin, Costco has a lot of different options at a fairly decent price. So those are all of the top 10 Costco preps that I recommend. I think people should just get these every time that they go to Costco to build up their emergency stash. Now let's go through some additional non-perishable foods that go outside of that top 10 list of Costco preps. Starting off first is spaghetti and noodles. These have a fairly decent shelf life and are easy to cook. Pasta cooks faster than rice and uses less fuel, making it a better option for off-grid cooking. We like the Rayo's pasta sauce, although sometimes we'll go with the Costco one, which is usually a better deal. Next, we have Top Ramen. I like ramen because it's lightweight, shelf-stable, and it's a good base for a hearty soup. You could add some of that canned meat or veggies or eggs to make it a complete meal. The kids always seem to eat it too, although I prefer the spicy ramen. If you've got kids, don't skip on the big box of Kraft mac and cheese. It's shelf-stable, easy to prepare, and a guaranteed morale booster for the little ones during a stressful situation. Plus, you could always bulk it up with canned meat or veggies. We always have a couple boxes of mac and cheese in our pantry preps. Next, we have chicken stock. You can get this canned or in a carton. We use this often for soups or stews or for cooking rice with added flavor and nutrients. We've also been jarring our own chicken stock, but the ones at Costco are very handy. Next, we have coffee and instant coffee. For EDC purposes, I use K-Cups, but for my emergency stash, I prefer canned coffee and also instant coffee. You're going to want this for that caffeine intake so you don't have a crash during the apocalypse. And these ones are ideal for percolator-style brewing. Canned coffee doesn't last forever, but instant coffee does if you keep it in the freezer. We keep at least 3 containers of instant coffee in our freezer at all times. Up next is tomato sauce. I think this is essential for pasta dishes, for soups, for stews. It's a great base for a variety of meals with a decent shelf life. Up next is soy sauce. This is great for adding flavor to that rice, and it has a very long shelf life. A lot of people feel it's indefinite, although I've never tried. Next, we have salt. You could use it for table salt or for pickling salt, and they also have a 50-pound bulk option. I like going with the kosher salt. Next, pick up some sugar. This is going to be essential for baking. You could get these in small bags or in the large bags. I prefer the large bags and then moving them into Mylar bags in 5-gallon buckets. We've covered that in a previous video. Next, you could get large bags of oatmeal. This is a quick, filling breakfast option. While you're at it, pick up a large bag of flour. Flour doesn't have the longest shelf life, but we still like having it stored in a 5-gallon bucket with a Gamma Seal lid at all times. To go along with it, it's also good to pick up a packet of yeast. This is going to be your bread making essentials. Next, we have bouillon cubes. These are fairly cheap, they have a long shelf life, and they add a lot of flavor to a variety of meals. Next, we have honey. Honey lasts indefinitely. It's great for cooking or for medicinal uses. Again, it will never expire. It may get hard, but it won't expire. Another item to grab is pure vanilla extract. It has a long shelf life, up to 5 years, and adds a lot of flavor to baked goods and drinks. We also like picking up pure maple syrup. It has a really long shelf life, it's great for cooking and for baking, and it's a natural sweetener alternative. To go along with that, you might as well pick up a pancake mix. These are easy to make meals for breakfast, even during grid down situations. Costco has a wide variety of spices and seasonings. We've already talked about salt, but pick up your pepper, garlic powder, cinnamon, Johnny's seasoning. You name it, there's a lot of various seasonings and spices, depending on what you like using. To go along with that, I recommend picking up some baking soda. This one's really versatile because you could use it not only for cooking, but also for cleaning. Next, I recommend having a few boxes of brownie mix. This has a fairly decent shelf life, and it would be a great morale booster during an emergency situation. It's easy to bake and perfect for comfort during stressful times. I also recommend having a case of protein drinks. This is a super convenient nutrition source. I like the chocolate Fairlife ones, but there's a lot of different varieties at Costco. While we're talking about sweet things, I also recommend picking up a packet of chocolate chips. During an emergency situation, it'd be great to have some chocolate chip cookies, which would definitely boost the morale. We already covered canned meats, but I've been including sardines lately. I don't really like eating sardines out of the can, but we have a few dishes that I use them for. They're high in protein and have a super long shelf life. Get them in oil or in their own juices for added fats and nutrients. Again, this is one that if you don't like it, don't buy it. Don't forget your pets. Costco has a huge section for pet food and supplies. Look for their large bags of kibble and the storage containers with Gamma Seal lids. They're great for keeping food fresh and pest-free. Pets are part of the family too, so make sure your emergency plan includes them just like everyone else in the household. I also recommend picking up some whiskey or other alcohol. This could be used as a great stress reliever in emergencies, and it could also be used as a potential barter item with the right people. And if you really wanted to, you could use it for wound cleaning or for pain relief. And then last, I recommend picking up a case of candy bars. This has no nutritional value, but again, it's another great morale booster during an emergency situation. And those are all of the additional non-perishable food items that I recommend. I didn't focus on any raw meats for this video, just because I wanted to focus on non-perishable food items. However, if you are into pressure canning, you can get raw meat to use for those projects at Costco in the butcher section. Let's continue on with some more prepper items. By the way, I'm not going to be listing high-ticket items like freeze dryers or a home generator, which could cost several $1,000s. So everything I list here, I'll try to keep within a reasonable price. Let's start going through some grid down supplies. I like having a stash of these items for when you're in situations where there's no running water. As a lot of you know, Costco has great deals on storage bins, so I'd recommend picking up at least one of those and storing these grid down supplies in there. This is mostly for eating and not having to waste water. So I recommend picking up a big container of paper plates, plastic cups, and utensils. While you're at it, grab a large box of garbage bags. This could be used for trash and a lot of other uses. Have at least one large roll of aluminum foil. This could be used for cooking and for food storage aid. Also a large roll of plastic wrap. Again, this is essential for food preservation. We already mentioned toilet paper, but I also recommend picking up a box of the baby wipes, even if you don't have a baby. We still like picking this up for hygiene purposes. Just pick up a box and keep it on hand. You could also find good deals on nitrile gloves at Costco, which is an essential item for sanitation, for cleaning, or handling waste in a grid down scenario. Just take all of these items and put it in one of those large storage bins. This is going to be some of your grid down cooking supplies, again to help conserve water. Some other items to pick up at Costco would be bleach and vinegar. This could be used for cleaning and for water purification. And those are all of the grid down supplies that I recommend for no running water scenarios. Speaking of grid down, let's talk about some power outage supplies. We recently did a video featuring power outage preparedness, but I recommend picking up flashlights or headlamps at Costco. You could find these in a 3-pack, which work great for various kits. I prefer the ones made by Duracell. You should look to see if Costco is selling any Mr. Heater portable propane heaters. These are indoor safe and work great during winter power outages. They're compact, efficient, and perfect for heating a small room or shelter area when the grid goes down. Also, if you don't have one, you could pick up a generator at Costco. Yeah, I did say I wasn't going to recommend a high-ticket item, but this will be the highest ticket item that I recommend, and you don't have to get it at Costco. So this is for backup power for long-term outages. Costco carries both gas generators and solar power stations like Jackery. You'll also commonly find dual fuel options for the gas generators, which is really convenient for emergency purposes. There's also some great safety and security items. So things like fire extinguishers, which is an essential safety item for emergencies. I also recommend taking a look at their smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. They usually have ones made by reputable brands. And for security, if you don't already have some, I recommend taking a look at their motion-activated lights. These could be used for deterring intruders and for providing overall visibility. And we've already covered this in the power outage preparedness video, but I also like having those solar power pathway lights that you could get at Costco. They have a few different brand options here. They're all pretty good. During a power outage, you could bring these indoors to provide illumination, and then during the daytime, you could move them back outside and charge them for the next day. Keep repeating the process until the power is restored. And those are the items that I recommend for power outages, safety, and security. While you're there, it's a good idea to take a look at some of their vehicle preps. I recommend taking a look at their price for motor oil, which you're going to want to have for grid down situations or everyday purposes. I find that Costco has windshield wipers at a fair price, and it's always good to have backup wipers on hand. You'll sometimes find good deals on jump starters, which is a must-have item for dead batteries, especially during emergency situations. There's a lot of different options available online, but the ones at Costco are also solid. I also recommend considering picking up a spare car battery. Again, this is just to ensure that you have backup power for emergencies. If there is a supply chain shortage, it would be nice to have at least one extra battery for your vehicle. If you have the budget, it might also be good to take a look at their spare tires and see if that would be a good option for you. Again, this is more for supply chain shortages that we may experience. If there is a regional grid down scenario, you might not have options to fix a flat tire as easily as you do when the grid is up. So again, spare tires is something to consider. And those are the items that I recommend for vehicle preps. Now let's start going through some prepper gems. These are non-food items that you may sometimes see at Costco and you may not. It depends if you're lucky. Let's start off first with some prepper gems for the home. Again, these are things you may have to search for when you're at Costco. There's a few portable cooking options available. You may find something like the camp kitchen set or even the camp coffee set, which would be good items to include in your emergency cooking supplies. I also recommend seeing if they have any Lodge cast iron cookware. You can frequently find things like griddles and pots. Cast iron works great for off-grid situations in addition to camping. You may even find some good deals on gas-powered grills that could be used during power outages. They seem to go through a few different brands, but it's worth checking out the camping section to see what they have. Again, this is great for alternative cooking sources when the power is out. If they happen to have sterno cans, that's also a good option. One item that I recommend picking up if you don't already have so is a Food Saver vacuum sealer. This helps make long-term food preservation easy. We use ours all the time for vacuum sealing various food items for long-term storage. They also sell the bags at Costco too. Again, I mentioned this earlier, but make sure you check out the storage bins at Costco. Costco has a great price for these, and you could use these for organizing your various emergency preparedness supplies. I like to keep mine in the garage and shelves, and having them color coordinated based off of the particular category of item that's stored in there. While you're at Costco, if you're into pressure canning, take a look at what they have for mason jars. These are great for canning, food preservation, and storage. And then sometimes you may find ammo cans. Most often they're going to be the plastic kind. These are durable and secure containers for storing a wide variety of preps. You could use these for home storage or even your vehicle. And those are some of the non-food prepper gems that you may find at Costco. Again, it depends on the day that you go and what they have in stock. And last, let's start talking about some prepper kit items that you could find at Costco. These are supplies for things like your bug out bags and evacuation kits. Again, just keep your radar out for these particular items as you're shopping at Costco. You may find them or you may not. You could usually find a multi-pack of utility lighters. These are the ones that you use for camping and for home use. You could put these in various kits for starting fire. Another item for warmth is to look for hand warmers. These are a great item to include in your bug out bags and evacuation kits. Speaking of bug out bags, take a look in the socks section. You'll sometimes find some wool socks that are available. And just like Lieutenant Dan said from Forrest Gump, you want to take care of your feet for your bug out bags. I recommend including 3 socks for each evacuation kit like a bug out bag. 1 pair to wear, 1 pair that's clean, and 1 pair that's dirty and needs to be cleaned. Next, Costco usually has great deals on work gloves. These can be used to protect your hands during cleanup and emergencies, and Costco usually sells them in a 3-pack, so you may also include them in your bug out bags. Keep an eye out for any Life Straw water filters. You don't always find these, but when you do see them, they're usually at a great deal. These are compact and lightweight for clean drinking water in your emergency kits. Sometimes you'll find nice knives and hatchet sets by reputable knife brands. These are great items to include in your bug out bag for various cutting tasks, in addition to shelter prep. You'll sometimes find some camping lanterns, which you could use for power outages in addition to general camping trips. For your EDC and bug out bags, you'll oftentimes find both pepper spray and bear spray at Costco. They'll be in a multi-pack so you can include them in various kits. These can be used for personal protection in urban and rural settings. Again, they come in a multi-pack so you can include them in various kits. You'll also find a good deal on a multi-pack of insect repellent. This is especially good to have in your vehicle and in your bug out bags. And then last, for your bug out bags, take a look at the liquid IV electrolyte mix. These are great to have for emergency kits like bug out bags to support hydration and recovery during physical stress. And those are all the items that you should look out for prepper kits. Now, some Costco shoppers really dive deep into the pricing system. Things like price tag numbers, markdown codes, and asterisks that supposedly signal clearance or discounted items. Personally, I don't get too caught up in all of that. If the price seems fair and it's something that I need for my preps, I just go for it. Just a few more things to go over. If you have one in your local region, make sure you check out the Costco business centers. They're oftentimes a little less crowded, and they frequently sell things like number 10 cans of non-perishable food items. They also open a lot earlier than the normal Costco. Again, all the stuff that I listed in this video is specific to Costco, but I know a lot of people have Sam's Club that's nearby their local region. And a lot of the items that I showed in this video for Costco could also be found at Sam's Club. I just don't happen to be a Sam's Club member or have one nearby. You probably noticed that I didn't include Mountain House kits. I've been skipping Mountain House kits for long-term food storage just because they're a little bit too expensive, and I'm trying to practice more of storing what we actually eat. However, if you're building a bunch of bug out bags and survival caches, Mountain House is a good option. Definitely watch for inflation as you're shopping at Costco. Prices are rising, so stock up now before things get even more expensive. A couple years back, I did a price comparison of my original Costco video and then what the prices were 3 years later. I'll probably do another one of those because prices continue to go up. I mentioned earlier that I provided a shopping guide that you could download by clicking the link in the description box below. You probably noticed that I didn't include water in this video. I prefer using 5-gallon water jugs over Costco's single-use bottled water. They produce less plastic waste, they're refillable, and I think offer a more efficient storage solution. When we come home from Costco, we immediately start putting things away in the pantry. In a previous video, I mentioned how I use a color-coded pantry system to stay organized. So I used various color stickers and put them on all of the items, which help indicate the best by date. Each color represents a different year, and it helps keep my pantry system rotated for first in, first out. Before wrapping up this video, I thought we should also talk about donating spare food. Even though best by dates are not expiration dates, I think it's always a good idea to donate spare food to those in need when you can. As you're building up your emergency preps, you may find that you're not using certain items, and oftentimes we like rotating fresh items in and donating other items to charitable places. You could donate food to local food banks, homeless shelters, soup kitchens, religious organizations, schools, community centers, or the Salvation Army. In closing, prepping isn't just about the end of the world. It's about being ready for anything: inflation, natural disasters, or supply chain disruptions. Having a solid Costco prepper stash gives me peace of mind. So the next time you're at Costco, pick up an extra bag of rice, another pack of batteries, maybe even a can of sardines, and keep building up your emergency pantry. Hopefully none of us ever have to use these type of preps for an actual emergency situation. That's going to do it for this video featuring the ultimate Costco shopping guide for preppers. As mentioned, I provided a PDF document. You can download it by clicking the link in the description box below. It has a list of all the items that were featured in this video. Please leave your comments below in the comments section regarding this video, and stay tuned for more urban emergency preparedness videos. See you next time.